Hello, this is Module 3 on Information Skills and the 21st Century Learner. First, let's discuss some information inquiry terms so we can understand the terminology that we are using when we're referencing 21st century information skills. A lot of the terms that we're using right now come from the 20th century discussions about what students needed to have in order to be effective users of information and ideas. So when school libraries first started to be developed, it was the charge of the media specialist to teach what was called library skills. And these were skills such as using the card catalog, locating books in the library, learning the Dewey Decimal System. Skills for finding and using information in the library, and also the different parts of the book. Oftentimes these skills were taught in isolation when students were sent to the library for their library time. From library skills, we derived the concept of information skills, and this occurred when information was being presented more and more in a diversity of media and formats such as television, newspapers, periodicals. So information skills, it was also broadened because it then meant skills for locating, using, and evaluating information in the library using tools such as catalog searches, reference tools, etc. And this developed when in the 80s and the 90s when computer catalogs started to be automated and a lot of the information was being provided in electronic format. Again, these information skills were often taught in isolation, and they were often taught sometime before students started a specific research project. From those ideas, then we began to develop a concept called information literacy, and this really came about during the explosion of the internet when all different kinds of information began to be available at our fingertips. So information literacy is defined as the ability for students to locate, use, and evaluate information from all sources, including print and electronic formats. And the goal for an information literacy program was to provide information literacy as an integrated part of a school curriculum using some kind of specific information literacy model such as the Big Six, the Savvy 7, there's a variety. Now, this is when we were beginning to see and understand that although information literacy was acknowledged as being an important part of the school educational program, it was not widely practiced. Information literacy was not widely taught by library media specialists. They were still very book-oriented. So here we are in the 21st century with some real serious problems regarding students' ability to use and evaluate information resources. So there's a little overlap here. So the concept of information literacy as one of the many different literacies that are being taught in schools, such as media literacy, informational literacy, reading for information, all kinds of different literacies. It's the ability for students to locate, use, and evaluate information from all sources, including print and electronic. And again, the goal is that information literacy would be provided as an integrated part of the school curriculum using a specific model. And it's an essential part of the 21st century skills movement. But again, even though we are acknowledging that this is an important part of the school educational program, it's not implemented widely at the school or district level. Currently, we are beginning to use a new term called information inquiry, and this is an even broader concept than information literacy. Information inquiry is a process or problem-oriented curriculum which integrates an information processing model. And this is essential for 21st century schools. So here you have a school-wide problem-based curriculum where you have an authentic problem that students collect information resources and discuss different solutions, and then present their solutions to a group. And within this model, there are various different information processing models, such as the Big Six or the inquiry model, that are being taught along with the problem-based curriculum. And so this is the essential curriculum for 21st century schools if you look back through those materials. It's where students are actively engaged in locating, using, and evaluating resources associated with a particular problem. Then there is the concept of information fluency or digital information fluency. And this is the ability for students to locate, use, and evaluate sources effectively and with confidence. And it's borrowed from literacy. There is an idea where you have functional literacy, where you can perhaps read signs in the newspaper maybe, but you are not fluent. That means that you are not reading with ease and with a great deal of understanding. So information fluency and digital information fluency in particular really relates to students' ability to fluently use information tools and to understand and evaluate the information that they are getting through these different information resources. So, and digital information fluency is an ability that is gained through an integrated information literacy or inquiry curriculum, and again, essential for 21st century learners. Now let's talk about information fluency and student achievement, because it is really problematic that information inquiry is not really being fully integrated into educational programs, and information literacy and information inquiry models are not being integrated into the school program. We have a number of different research studies that show that these skills do increase student achievement. For example, the article published by Lance shows that teaching information skills increases student achievement. A unpublished paper by Allard and White indicate that schools using a research process model show higher achievement. And an article by Todd indicates that formal collaboration between the media specialist and the teacher in an inquiry-oriented curriculum raises student achievement. So the achievement results are there. It's just a matter of schools recognizing this and then going about the process of integrating information inquiry and information literacy into their educational program. And here are some more information about information fluency and student achievement. An article that I published last year on Kentucky schools indicates that students use 21st century information tools but lack instruction on effective use of the tools for finding authoritative information. And specifically, my study shows a low use of electronic databases. And then finally, a study by Ross Todd and Carol Kutal indicate that students themselves believe that libraries make them better learners. Now, I think that I've shown that there is a information literacy curriculum gap, meaning that there is a need for information inquiry and information literacy, and research has shown that this kind of orientation towards instruction and education increases student achievement. There is a gap between what kind of instruction in the Library Media Center goes on and the kinds of instructional needs that students have to be 21st century learners. For example, in my study, I found that print reference was taught in elementary schools primarily. Electronic resources for teaching information skills was not used. to a great degree. But internet searches were the primary information locating method students used in secondary schools, but instruction in those schools really was basic library orientation and searching skills. There was a lack of instruction in evaluating information, low use of electronic databases, and lack of instruction in ethical and legal uses of information, although plagiarism at the secondary level was recognized as a serious problem. So, definitely there is an information literacy, information inquiry curriculum gap. And whose job is it to close this gap? Well, it's specifically the job of the 21st century media specialist. And so that's really what this presentation is primarily about, that essentially to be an effective media specialist for 21st century skills, information inquiry curriculum must be promoted. Specific information literacy models must be integrated into an information inquiry curriculum, and collaboration and program advocacy will be an important part of a media specialist job now and in the future. And here are resources for you related to this module, covering information inquiry, information literacy, and achievement, and then also specific studies related to Kentucky schools. And thank you very much for your attention to this module, and I look forward to working with you online.